Good morning, guys, and when you see this door, you know it's time for another episode of, indeed, Behind the Closed Doors. And I almost forgot my keys, so that would be a really closed door. Okay, today the workshop, classic lighting, the classic Masters. It's a difficult workshop, a lot of techniques, but that makes it awesome. And our model for today, Claudia. She's really that classic face that fits this workshop. It's gonna be awesome. Today we have a full group, 7 students, and the week is already preparing everything for the coffee machine. And are you also looking forward to it today?
Yes, of course.
Awesome. Okay, so today's workshop, Classical Masters. So what does that mean? Well, we all know photography, of course, but in the old days there was something else, and that was actually painters. Now you might wonder, are you gonna do paintings? No. But we're gonna borrow a lot from the lighting that painters use, like Caravaggio or Rembrandt. But most of all, it will, of course, be about photography. Because that's, of course, what we do. Photography. Oops. Because that's, of course, what we do. Photography. Better. Because that's, of course, what we do. Photography. Perfect. So, what are those old masters? Well, we, of course, all know Helmut Newton, Richard Avedon. And, well, there are so many old photographers like George Hurrell. Think about Harcourt. It's all very, very inspiring, and lighting-wise, it's just absolutely awesome what you see. But often you come at home or you are in your studio and you think like, how did they make those light setups? Because you can really see that they pinpoint the light on their models. But when you grab a grid or a strip light or whatever, you can't get that real, almost like, I sometimes call it like dirty lighting, where it isn't perfect and it's very, very rough. So you could also call it rough lighting or whatever you want to name it. But it's not that beautiful, everything is cornered, beautiful soft shadows. No, it's very harsh, it's direct lighting, it's often one area around the eyes that are a little bit more lit than the rest of the body. And that's actually what they used in the past, flags. And you don't see them a lot in the studios nowadays, and I think Enrique already set them up. So let's just walk to one of those flags. Okay, here you can see that she set them up. So they're like these big black pieces of, well, you can use foam. In this case, it's a good material. It's, I don't know what the material is, but it's very lightweight. And you mount them on pieces like this. And the reason is when you open this up just a little bit, it won't fall off. But now you can literally open it up just a little bit more. There we go. So you can very easily and without any clicks, so it's very, very precise. You can just position your flag wherever you want it and then just lock it. Now, I only have one hand, so I have to lock it like this. But it's a really, really cool system to make the light appear exactly where you want it. And that's all about it today. Making the light appear exactly where you as a photographer want that light. If you want a light behind it, set it up behind the model. And if you want a flag of something, use that flag and see what happens. No lens flare, lens flare. No lens flare, lens flare. So that's what flags do, but they also steer the light. So if you want light straight on your model, you place a flag right in the middle between your model and your light source. Now, the more you move the flag towards the model, the harder the edge transition will be. The more you move the flag away from your model, the softer. So that's techniques that we're going to discuss today. It's very, very interesting to see. And the coolest thing is actually when you see people looking at it for the first time and they go like, yeah, black piece of fabric, I don't know what that can do. And then they see the results and they go like, wow, I really like this. So watch the behind the scenes videos from today and see how we set up the flags. Sometimes it looks pretty complicated, but in essence, it's really simple. Closer to the model, harder edge transfer. Closer to the light source, softer edge transfer. Students are almost here. I'm ready to start. Okay, set number 1. One big softbox, White backdrop, jumping model, nothing more. Just explaining that the difference between using continuous lighting and strobes is of course that you can now freeze motion. I think this was one of the most important inventions for studio photography. Freezing motion thanks to flash. So no more 10 seconds exposure or 5 seconds exposure or even 1 second exposures. Just flash and freeze that motion. If you want to look up stuff that is really awesome with that kind of stuff, look at the Masters, Avedon, Helmut Newton. The list goes on and on and on. Just look at that area when they started photography with strobes. It's absolutely awesome because then you can see that there was this barrier that was broken. Now we can do movement. Now we can do a lot more. Getting totally excited about it because I love motion in photography. So that was set number 1. Set number 2, that's the one with the flags. Controlling your lighting and making sure that the light just hits your model exactly where you want it. Very, very tricky to do, but so much fun. And in all honesty, I just love the outcome, but the outcome is always, well, different than you expect for the very simple reason, using flags and strobes together is an amazing tool, but it's also very difficult to exactly do what you did before. So those images are always a little bit unique. It's a little bit like working with the flash benders. You get the same idea, but getting it exactly the same, that's almost impossible because those flags are really sensitive. But that's also the cool part because now you can work with shadows, light fall off, and most of all shadow transfer or edge transfer. That's the difference between having that flag really close to our model and having like a very, very short edge transfer, or having it more closely to the light source and having that more wider edge transfer. So it makes it softer or harsher, and that's really nice to work with. In the end, we ended up actually with just switching over the places for the flags. So it was like maybe 30 centimeters difference, and that just clicked. That was immediately when the attendee said, that's what I like. So 30 centimeters can already make a huge difference. That's about, well, just look it up online, 30 centimeters.
Show you what a good time looks like. You can't do better. You can't do better. Let me show you what a good time.
Okay, for the third setup, we use very simple stuff that we had in our studio. In this case, Venetian blinds. Just hang them up on a background system. Make sure that the back is dark because you don't want that appearing in your image. That's a lot of Photoshop work. And then just make your model look through those Venetian blinds. And the cool thing about this is when you place your light far away from the Venetian blinds, you get those beautiful stripes over your model. When you place the light too close to the Venetian blind, it just wraps around and you don't get those nice shadows. If you don't want those nice shadows and you think those shadows are ugly, place the light close and you get that wraparound effect. For example, great for glamour photography. Although these images I also love for glamour photography, but I like harsh shadows. But the cool thing is you can control those shadows. Close to the Venetian blinds, soft light. Far away from the Venetian blinds, it's not soft light, but soft shadows. And far away, harder shadows. Awesome technique.
You don't have to hide it. Baby, let your head down. Be a little wilder. Baby, kick your shoes off. Don't hide it. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into your box. Beauty queens without no flaws. You can do better. I dare you to be wilder. I don't fit into.
Final setup for today. Very simple. A click prop backdrops. And just look at the clothing of the model. The only thing we used was a beauty dish. And sometimes, and this is the cool thing about photography, you don't need a lot of lighting. You don't need fancy lighting setups or lens flares or whatever. But the styling, that's everything. And you remember, everything before but is not true. So you don't need fancy lighting. You don't need cool stuff. But great styling. So that actually means that you need proper lighting, you need a cool backdrop, but when you combine that with styling, I just look at the images, it's absolutely awesome. This is one of those setups, and I teach a lot of workshops. We do workshops twice a week, and overall, I'm always happy with the shots that I get. And sometimes I get a shot where I go like, yeah, that's portfolio material. Let's put it online. I'm very anxious to see what people think. This setup, although it's one of the most simple setups ever, just a beauty dish, very close to the model. But because of the expression of Claudia, her styling, her overall appearance, and that nice look on the backdrop, it just created an image. Where the moment it came in, I looked at the monitor and was going like, yep. That's it. That's absolutely awesome. So I wonder what you guys think of these images. And you can already see that from this setup, I retouched a few more because I just loved it. Okay, so let's show you the images. Okay guys, that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like what we do, you know the drill. Subscribe to our channel, leave comments below, smash that like button because we really like it. But most of all, tell other people about the channel so we can grow. Well, that's about it. If you want to see something else in the vlog, or if you really like what we do, just leave comments below. I'm here for you guys, so if you want to see something else, or a different explanation, or more pictures, or slower, whatever you want, just let me know. See you next time. Oh, and if you want 360 images of all the lighting setups and some behind the scenes images, join our Patreon. It's absolutely awesome, and it starts at $1 a month, and you also support my work. So why not? Join us. Thank you. See you next time. Bye bye.